Welcome, I'm Darren Scorza, and I have another video for you here at the Drum Woodshed channel. In this video, we're going to talk about some exercises for up-tempo jazz playing. Okay, this is going along on a theme that I've had in my other videos where we're doing what everybody does, right? Take some other texts like stick control or Ted Reed's syncopation, Louis Bellson's 4/4 text, whatever you want, and applying some different ideas to work on various topics. Others I've done are stickings and kind of coordinate triplet coordination. This one is going to work on up-tempo jazz playing. And as I'm shooting this today, it turns out it's the birthday of one of my good old friends, John Crabiel, excellent drummer, percussionist, and human being. Anyway, he had a nickname when we went to Eastern Illinois University, and it seems to apply here because we're going to be making some cool up-tempo grooves. So this is called the Up-Tempo Groovemaker. All right, we're going to get going in a second, but I just want to make one little disclaimer. I'm going to be referencing various texts, and I'm going to actually put up a couple of graphics. I do not have permission to use those graphics, but in the case of the books that I'm using, I'm also going to state them here and say go out and buy them. So I'm not going to put too much of them up there, but the two books that we're going to draw from for me are, well, Ted Reed's Syncopation, which everyone should own. And for the rest of the material, you just have to find some stuff that has some good eighth note based, jazz type figures. You could get that in a, Gary Chafee book. You could get it in a Steve Houghton book. Anything that has those kind of figures. You could even pull out charts and just kind of work on your charts, which is a great way to practice using this technique. As I said, we're going to use Ted Reed's Syncopation. For me, the best book for this stuff is Ron Spagnardi's The Big Band Drummer. The full title on that is Complete Workbook for Improving Big Band Drumming Performance. That book is great, and although I am going to, without permission, reprint a couple of exercises from there, I'm not going to put a full page up there. I implore you to go get that book. So buy that book. You could buy it hard copy. You could buy it. I have it on iBooks. It's a great book. I use it all the time. I use it with my students, and I make them pay for it too. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. All right. In all actuality, we're actually drawing from a couple of different sources. This idea came to me to work on up-tempo jazz by watching a video that I couldn't find today by the great Peter Erskine called The Comping Game. The comping game is very simple. You start playing some jazz time, you hit your snare drum, then you hit your bass drum, and then you hit your snare drum, and then you hit your bass drum. You can do every rhythm you want, but you don't want to break that rule. Till the very end, I didn't break the rule. You could also do that with two hand hits to a bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Still don't think I broke the rule. I played a lot of the comping game. All right. Anyway, we're going to take that idea and now we're going to apply it to an up-tempo jazz rhythm. Okay. So the first thing we do is got to get that started. We get that started. Okay. You can pick your tempo. I'm going to go around here. And now we're going to look at our sheet music to look for a figure that we could play. Now, in this first one, the other thing we want to do is we want to look at it and count how many notes are in the figure. Not count the rhythm out, just see how many notes there are. In this case, on this first one, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 notes. That's an odd number. That'll play a little bit later. What we're going to do is every time we repeat it, we're going to have to reverse it because it's an odd number. Okay? I'll come back to that. First, I'm going to play the exercise a couple of times. I'm going to put some time in front of it, and then you're going to see what I'm going to do. I will start with the snare drum in this first exercise. When I repeat it, I'll start with the bass drum. 1, 2, 1, Okay, that's great, all well and good. Before I move on, I might speed it up. I might take the time away and then repeat it. And then that odd number of starting on the one hand the first time, starting on the kick drum the second time becomes even harder. Let me see if I can do that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Because I'm stopping and starting, you know, it's going to be a little jagged, but really you want to just keep it flowing. I might play that for 10 minutes and come up with all kinds of things that I want, just off that one figure. All right, just for fun, let's do another one. We're going to go to number 2. Now, number 2 has 5 notes in it, so that means that on the repeats, I will have to flip-flop it. So the first time I'll start with snare. The second time I'm going to start with bass drum and back and forth. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That last one on the beat, but you know, give me a break. All right, I'm not going to do another take. We'll go to number 3. Now, number 3 is an even number of notes. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I use my fingers. That's great. So 6 notes. So now on that repeat, I don't have to do a flip-flop or anything like that. Up, down, stays the same. Because it's also a little spacious, I might add a buzz or something like that on that long note. And the other thing we want to look out for is anytime we have, okay, or, okay, watch that. Try not to make the end of it too percussive, especially in the bass drum. Percussive is the wrong word, but sometimes I'll see students bury the beater on that just because it's a little bit, they're looking for terra firma, and there's nothing more terra firma than planting a bass drum note, okay? Try to make it round. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, here's just a couple more points that I'm going to try to get through quickly here to kind of help you along with this. First thing is, why am I using this Ron Spagnardi book? Why am I not using syncopation? I, of course, use syncopation. And you could take exercise 1 from page 38 and Ted Reed's syncopation and do the same thing. Maybe just play the first 2 bars. Okay? Now, that's all very good. That would be great. I do it. But then you might be inclined to try to play the whole page. Now, I can play the whole page. I'm not going to try to show off here. Maybe I'll show off a little later. But the problem with the syncopation, and not a problem, but the kind of thing about syncopation is there's not a lot of hanging and of 4s. There are a lot of and of 4s in it, but they usually resolve to 1. So if you're going to run the whole page, you're doing a lot of... There's not a lot, at that tempo, there's not a lot of big band figures that go bop bop boop bop bop bop, dap bop boop dap bop up. Okay, a 1. Whereas the Ron Spagnardi book has figures that are more jazz band like. So look for something like that. If you don't get the Ron Spagnardi big band book, Steve Houghton's, you know, different books have lots of figures. Or like I said, just pull out your charts and start working on charts. Now you're practicing, you're learning, you go to the bandstand, you know your music, you maybe even have it memorized, you look like a genius. All right, second thing is just more of a technical aspect thing here. For some of you, just playing this ride cymbal pattern, you know, real fast, might be tough. I have many different ways to do it. Sometimes I vacillate between having a really open hand, and then sometimes I can't be that loud, and I'll play a real tight little, you know, not tight, but closed grip. Okay, it's all up to you. It takes a lot of work. John Riley has a great video where he talks about going from the shuffle beat, accenting the offbeat, kind of morphing that into up-tempo. So that's one thing. Second thing, technically, drums, just keep them round, okay? Try to avoid burying the beater on these figures. I do it all the time when I'm playing, but for practice, try to get a nice warm bass drum sound. Most importantly, the old hi-hat, okay? I see a lot of students, and sometimes non-students, pros, that are stomping away on the hi-hat when they play up-tempo. Maybe not good jazz drummers, but I see that a lot, okay? You have to look at that and see, why am I wasting so much energy? Am I playing the hi-hat? Am I doing a side-to-side thing? Am I doing, like, as I like to call, putting out cigarettes with my left foot? Maybe you can see that over here. Am I doing a whole lot of disco dancing over here? You might have seen some videos or some jazz drummers, I say that with a little bit of, will tell you how to play up-tempo jazz, and then they're pounding the snot out of the hi-hat with their left foot. I don't know any jazz club or any jazz player that wants to hear that all night, unless I'm in a really loud big band. So if you want to keep your gigs, check this out. Okay, I'm going to focus on the hi-hat here, and let's check a few things out here, okay? gonna play some up-tempo stuff. 1, 2, 3. Stop. Except for the hi-hat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's think of another groove where we would play core notes in the hi-hat and look at our leg motion. Okay? That's not fast at all, right? Everyone, we could all sit here and do this, and we don't have to do any extraneous motion, side-to-side stuff, all that nonsense, okay? It's not nonsense, but just, we don't need it, right, to play that. Let's just apply that same motion back into the jazz time. 1, 2, ready, and. So in that case, the hi-hat is nice and strong, it's steady, has a good bass for me, and then when I do want to vary it, then maybe I'll start doing some kind of flashy stuff and doing some leg, dancing. But when I'm just trying to keep 2 and 4, it's good to, I don't want to say minimize the motion, let's just say maximize it into one straight motion. Leg coming straight down, chomping away, not doing a whole lot of extraneous stuff. Okay, that's it. Have a lot of fun with these, and again, comments, emails, anything, email the Drum Woodshed, and I'm looking forward to hearing everyone play their up-tempo jazz with a lot more expertise. Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing to the Drum Woodshed channel. If you have any questions, would like to request a PDF of this lesson, or would like to inquire about Skype lessons with Darren Scorza, please email drumwoodshed@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and keep practicing.